Good evening. This is the Newmarket Budget Committee, June 7th, 2010. And I'm Brian Hart, the current vice chair. The chairwoman, Lorianne Caprioli, could not make it tonight. We have 6 members of the Budget Committee here. And this is our, I guess you could call it, organizational meeting. The agenda is pretty simple. Election of officers, review the budget schedule for this year, which is really not reviewing a specific schedule, but just general process. Other business, and then adjournment. And election of officers. I believe Ms. Caprioli has told me she does not want to. She doesn't think she'll have the time to be chair again. So everyone should just know that. She told me that. So we have chair, vice chair are the positions for the officers of the committee.
Even though we have a quorum, is it imperative that we take the vote tonight? I mean, is it absolutely part of RSA?
I don't see why not. Who's
Why we shouldn't, yeah.
not here? I mean, they're all new people.
Okay.
I think
Well, I was thinking more of the school board rep, giving that opportunity.
have they appointed one?
We believe it's Kelly Foster.
Yeah,
Oh, Kelly Foster's.
yeah. And then the other one would be Lori, but we know why she's out, but the opportunity.
Has the council appointed? Yeah, they
Yeah.
appointed
Yeah.
you.
Should we have to
Okay.
do it?
Well, my only thought on that is generally the budget committee doesn't need to meet again. And I don't want to have another meeting just to elect the officers.
Okay.
If we want to wait and not make a decision on it, and then, Lorianne or I schedule the next meeting sometime in August or September, that's fine. But I don't want to have a special meeting just to decide who's going to run the budget committee, because it's.
I'd like to nominate Brian Hart as chair.
Second. So there's been a nomination on the floor. Is there any other nominations? I guess that's the way to do it.
I was going to nominate Roseanne Quox.
So are you nominating her, or?
Yes,
Okay.
I am nominating
Okay,
her.
now I gotta write down
What I
stuff.
wanted to say. However, either one would be good, so.
Brian, would you have time? I mean, I know you're scheduling with work.
No, I mean, it hasn't been a problem so far with it being just in the budget committee. I don't have time to be on the council or planning board, that's for sure.
Yeah, because you missed a few meetings last year.
Is there a second? Hold on a second.
Okay.
We need to have a second. So, Deanna made a motion to nominate Roseanne as chair. Is there a second? Okay, there is no second, so that fails, or doesn't,
Yeah, fails.
isn't on the table.
I can second myself, can't I?
Yes.
I'll second myself,
Okay.
just for the heck of it.
There we go.
Okay, so would anyone else like to put themselves onto the floor for consideration? I tried to get Drew on the way down here, but he wouldn't let me.
I don't blame him first year.
I'm already chair of the Conservation Commission.
That was a good excuse.
That's
Yeah,
a
it's a
lot.
good excuse, yeah.
Okay, so if I think what I would propose the way to vote on this would be that we vote on the proposal for me first, and then Roseanne, since that was the order they were nominated.
Right,
Is that
makes
fair?
sense.
And you can vote yes on both if you want, or no on both. And if it's a tie vote, then the way the council has done it in the past is then you only get to vote yes on one person. You have to make a choice.
Let's not do it the council.
I don't know, so. All right, how about Mr. Wanowski, would you mind just calling everybody's name so I'm not doing it? So, for Brian Hart as chair. Trevor
Roseanne
Simon.
Fox.
Aye.
Dan Glenn.
Aye.
Brian Hart.
Aye.
Leo Fillion.
Aye.
Hugh Capital. Aye. Elsing.
Aye. Okay, that is 6 votes, I believe. And then for Roseanne Quox's chair.
Roseanne.
Aye.
Dana.
Aye.
Brian.
No. Sorry.
Leo.
No.
Drew. No. Al.
Okay, that's 2-4, I believe.
I think no sounds pretty harsh. It's usually nay.
It's been a while since
I know.
had to vote like that.
Yeah, that was.
All right, so as it stands, I am.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So now we have to nominate a vice chair. Who would like to make a nomination for vice chair?
I'd like to nominate Lorianne,
All right.
Lorianne Caprielli.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
All right. Is there any other nominations? All right. Then I will close the nominations. And I'll just go ahead and call it. Well, we'll start on that. Mr. Zink.
Aye.
Mr. Keyfaber.
Nay.
Okay, Mr. Fillion.
Aye.
Miss Quox.
Nay.
Mr. Glennon.
Nay.
And the chair votes yes, so that's 3-3, I believe. Okay.
So it feels?
Yes, it fails. All right, then at this point, we don't have a chair, I mean a vice chair.
I'll nominate Roseanne Quax.
Okay,
Oh,
okay.
I mean, we can still do it, right?
Well, I guess the floor is closed only because I
Okay.
had offered the chance, no one else nominated. If the group wants, we can.
Well, this
open it up.
failed, that's why I was just doing that.
Yeah.
Because this failed. And my concern, why I voted the way I did was, knowing what the heavy load she may have, it might be a burden that she probably doesn't want right now
Yeah.
in that capacity, otherwise she's capable.
Yeah, I didn't have any, I didn't necessarily hear from her about that.
Mm.
The last communication I had with her was a couple weeks ago, after the elections. She was like, I need to have a meeting, can you schedule it? All right, so I guess we'll open the floor up and Mr. Glennon nominated Ms. Quox for vice chair.
Yeah.
Is there a second?
I will
Okay.
not nominate, I will not second myself this time, if no
Okay.
one else on the floor will.
Right.
It's obvious.
So at this point, we're not going to have a vice chair unless someone else wants to step up and put themselves in the crosshairs for this discussion.
Can I make a nomination?
Sure.
I'd like to nominate Leo Fillion.
No.
No? You won't do it?
No.
Okay. So we will have more business to do when we meet again, hopefully as a larger group. All right, the budget process and schedule. I guess I put this on here. Oh, the other thing related to officers is usually at this point we try, or at least Leo suggests that we appoint someone to the CIP committee.
Yes.
Is there one or two people?
Fine.
One or two budget committee members?
And one alternate, one member, one alternate.
When is Mr. Wanowski, do you know when the budget CIP committee is going to try to start? Because I know there were suggestions to start earlier.
Right. I was hoping that as soon as we could get the planning board to appoint somebody and someone from from the budget committee.
They, I listened to their meeting, and the chair said all previous appointments for the previous year would continue.
Okay, if that's the case, then.
So you're waiting for
I'd
us.
like to potentially have a meeting this month with the CIP committee. Just to, there's some smaller reviews that can take place. Putting together a schedule for the larger, the water, sewer, public works, fire for later. We get them working towards looking at their equipment and their fleets and everything, getting harder prices and stuff, so we can bring that to the committee, so they can get things done a lot sooner this year.
Okay.
Yeah, and I would like to be appointed as, in this year, seeing this, being I ran this year, 'cause I want to finish up what we
You got a
started
one-year
last
term?
year. Fine,
1-year term?
yes.
That's right. He signed up for the term I wanted to run for. It's very frustrating. All right,
On CIP or budget?
budget.
Budget.
So 1 year on him, right?
Yeah, 1 year. But so here's my thought. Kelly Foster is not gonna want to do that or would be appropriate since she's a school board rep. I don't think Ms. Caprielli would either. And Mr. Bastani, with his other commitments for business and politics, I can't imagine would have the time either. So I personally am comfortable with appointing someone, that from the group. So Leo's interested. Anyone else interested?
Well, Leah, are you on the CIP this year? Is just a,
Well, I was on the last 5 years, but this is a new appointment this year.
so if you don't get appointed, you won't be on it.
Right.
Oh.
But the budget committee is the one that does the appointment, right?
budget
Budget committee has to appoint a member and an alternate.
Okay.
I
Well, I would want Leo on
I
there.
would want Leo, absolutely.
I'm happy with that too.
I am-
Someone like to serve as an
I'll nominate
appointment?
Leo filling in for the budget
Okay.
committee rep to CIP.
All right.
Second.
Oh, I thought it was the chairman appointment.
That's okay. I don't know what the process was, and
No, we've lost.
it's easy if there's no one else that really wants it. So, all those in favor of Leo being the CIP representatives for the budget committee?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
I'd like
Now's
to
your
go
chance.
for the alternate position,
All right.
if that's available.
Yep.
I just heard him say alternate.
Is there anyone else interested in the alternate? Okay, then I'll just appoint Dana as the alternate, if that's all right with everybody.
Thank you.
Make it easier
Who's
for
that?
ourselves. Dana,
Everybody all right with that, or?
Who?
Mr. Glennon.
Oh, okay.
Use a proper name. So for the budget schedule and process, generally the recent years have seen a little different process than when, say, Drew was on the budget committee like 7 or 8 years ago, which was the process is more in sync with the school board and the town council, and it seems to have produced a little bit simpler process for the public as well as the staff, and more collaborative process of budgeting for between the school board and the budget committee and the town council and the budget committee. And so what that means is that when the school board, since they start earlier, starts their discussions of a proposed budget from the staff with the board, the budget committee has been attending those meetings so that there is not an additional meeting of presentations and time specifically on that subject. And I think that's worked pretty well, and would hope that the budget committee would want to continue on that. And if we do, same with the town side, then we could inform the school board and the town council. So when Mr. Winowski and the new superintendent, whose name is not in my head, start their planning process, they can not have some of the conflicts we had this year with some specific dates. Like, I think our budget hearing date was the same day as something that the school had to do. And we can get more in sync on that. So those are my initial thoughts, but if anyone has some thoughts.
I would like to receive either the quarterly expenditures and revenues coming in or a monthly basis. I've asked for them, and I'm told they're available, but I guess I'm going to ask at this point that they be mailed to me, because I'm not getting them. And I'm not sure why, and it's nobody's fault, it's just I'm not getting them. So perhaps it might just be better to mail them when they produce them.
So can we have that discussion on other business, but focus on the overall
Oh, I'm
process
sorry.
first? It's okay. So, does anybody have any thoughts about the process that we've been involved with so far and changing it, or going back to the separate presentation process, which means a lot of extra hours for the staff? And
How about the seating? We always cram in here, would it be better off to have it downstairs so we're sitting as
Well, we'll decide
equals?
whether or not we're gonna have it first before we decide about the
Oh.
seating problem.
We always have a joint meeting with the council and the, and the school boards, don't we? We usually have them in here.
Historically, the way, when I was early on the budget committee, the council would work on the budget with the town administrator and produce a recommendation, and then the town administrator and the staff would do the same set of presentations to the budget committees, not with the council.
I'd rather do it together.
And
I like the process.
it stretches it out, and, you know, brings in department heads on Saturdays and late at night.
Well, I don't care about that process. I just say
That's what I
that
mean.
we're gonna do it, let's get it downstairs so we can all sit, because it's just weird to have these people, you're sitting facing that way, and there's people sitting behind you, you know, and you see all these heads.
Well, when the school board meets, when they're doing their work sessions, they're usually downstairs because of the size.
Yeah.
And it's not televised. They're just work sessions. They're not really making decisions.
Well, I think we had that discussion last year, that there was a discussion that was being done at the schools level, and I can't remember where it was. Very, very important information came out about the special ed program, and to me, it was
Yeah,
eye-opening, so, you know, I thought it was good. to
I
have
guess
it.
I think that the school board and the town council decide where they hold their meetings and how they,
Okay.
if they're going to broadcast them. We can't
And we can, I mean,
dictate
I think we can give input. I'm not dictating, I'm just saying, if you're talking about processes, and you want to change them, that's the one I would like to see change, is to have it downstairs, that's all.
So there's no one pushing for separate meetings, but continue to do the collaborative process. Okay.
Yeah, I'm all in favor
I'm in favor of
of
that.
efficiency and
Yeah.
collaboration.
Absolutely.
Mr.
But if need be, we could have a meeting here and there on our own. We could
Oh,
always
yeah.
just call a meeting if
Yeah.
we need to.
Mr. Zink?
I'd just like to bring something up that I've brought up for the past 2 years on the Budget Committee, and that is, generally, we have the discussion, not generally, we have the discussions with on the school budget first, and about 80% of that budget is personnel costs. And we have that discussion, and we get presentations, and we reach conclusions as a Budget Committee. Then we go on to the town, and about 70% of that budget is personnel costs, and we hear that we have to be consistent with what we did with the school, or it's not fair to employees. So therefore, what we did for the school is done for the town, and I think that's poor planning. It's not poor planning, it's poor,
It's not a good reason to give both.
I think this should be, and I don't know how to do it. I don't know how to make this happen, but I think there should be some discussion between the town and the school, over 80% of the budget relating to personnel costs, not just finally justifying the town's budget based on what we agreed to do with the school. And again, I don't know how to do it, but I'd like to at least put that on the agenda as something that we try and solve this year.
I guess I don't know.
How soon, how much before the town budget comes in, does the school budget come in? What's the lapse time between the
School is
school
in
budget
March.
presenting?
2 months
Too
before,
much.
roughly.
So we would have to start the town side of it at the same, we should,
September, October.
Oh, no, but I'm talking about when you final,
so we,
Your process starts earlier, but the
We-
process that we get it.
We start, yeah, we're doing our budgets in September, people are starting to meet so we can talk about it.
But they're doing those meetings right now.
for the school?
Yeah, I'm sure they are.
No, I'm sure they are
At the
too.
beginning of the, who's going to have, who's going to get contracts and all that stuff.
I think
I
the
guess
summer.
my question is a much broader question is, has anybody ever thought about changing the adoption of the school budget to take place at the same time as the town budget? For the purposes, then you get the two parties together, it puts added stress on you folks, because you have to hold more meetings and things, but if we can elect people in May, why can't we adopt the budget in May of the school? And I guess that's a question maybe posed to
their
the legal counsel.
rationale is that they have got to have their budget approved much earlier than that so they can give out contracts.
Yeah, they have to offer, they either have to pink slip or offer contracts by a certain
That's the same thing
date.
happening where Summersworth.
Summersworth was doing that
Big
because they hadn't
stinking on
passed the budget.
That, they have to.
Plus, I,
on that.
plus I-
That's been the reason it's been given is that,
Is there any way we can get them to change the contract date of expiration?
that's a whole
So
lot.
that-
no, it's not
State
that, it's
law.
the state,
That's
state
state
law.
law.
It's with the state law.
Some kind of rule about notification prior to the end of the fiscal year.
And we're bound by the charter to have ours in May.
Well, I think that, short of changing the state law, which, given what they're trying to do up there, might be hard, and there might be other ways where the same ends can be achieved, and I think the end of that is, the voters having, the school board and the council having better awareness of what each is dealing with financially that year, whether it's a spike in personnel costs or a new school addition, which we all know is coming this year. And that maybe there's a forum opportunity that the budget committee gets the chance to participate in with the school board and the council sometime early in the fall, like September, where the school board outlines, we don't know exactly the warrant articles, but we know that we're gonna have an elementary school addition and that there's no state aid. And we would really hope the council can short, not have any major financial projects this year because the school needs it. And then next year, it's the same discussion the other way, maybe. But I
Yeah,
think they've done that informally.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think that's more of the discussion of the superintendent level and administrative level. That should be a given, that should be going on, and then reaches down to where we have to make those hard decisions. But you're absolutely right. It's imperative that there's a cross conversation going on.
So, I mean, maybe that would be part of the discussion, larger group, and maybe Al can bring that back to the council, and, Ed's already heard it, so. So in terms of next meeting for the budget committee, I think it wouldn't be until later this summer or September. Unless I'm
Question,
missing something.
does the budget committee, if they have this special town meeting then, does the budget committee have any input or whatever on that?
What's that?
No recommend, not recommend, or anything like that, or what's the
passed.
status on something like that? I mean, normal special town
This is the
meeting,
special town meeting for the study money?
For the wastewater treatment facility.
When's that meeting?
Well, tentatively, it is going to take place in June. I mean, July, excuse me.
July 3rd, I believe it's July 13th.
What,
So do we don't have any authority to make a recommendation on that?
Not
Special
necessarily.
meeting?
The way that the law is written is to compress that timeframe. It gives specific dates as to the council to present a warrant, hold a public hearing, and then bring it to a meeting.
how come that wasn't done in May?
Because this is for the ARA money that's become available,
Oh, it's more our money.
so,
After the 1st of July?
yeah.
So it has to be within the new fiscal year.
And the earlier you do it, the better chance you have of getting it.
on regular
Yeah. Oh, I
special
see, that's
meetings,
money
they
in
do
reserves.
have, the budget committee has recommend, not recommend, or whatever on normal things. So you're saying,
Correct. Look,
just the way the legislature wrote this is,
it's the exact same law that was used last year when we had the special town meeting for the purposes of the well recharge. It follows the same procedure.
that was a state law that let us do that?
Yes, it was specifically adopted by the legislature for that purposes. And they,
Just for the town of Newmarket?
No.
No.
it's for all the towns that want to submit for either wastewater funding that they have through the AARA.
Oh, because the ARRA?
And that's only holding money sort of in an escrow for us. That paperwork.
Well, they're not holding money specifically for the town of Newmarket. There's money available that the town is seeking to put forward for the purposes of the new wastewater treatment facility.
We are gonna put forward,
Yes,
so we're gonna say this
Would
much
be-
money, you're gonna match that money?
right.
And what are we recommending for?
It's $18 million for the purposes, 15 of which would be for the new wastewater treatment facility to start in 2012, with a completion date in 2014. And there's additional monies to upgrade the Creighton Street lift station and the Bay Road pump station and the force main that goes across the river.
What,
But you're not asking for $18 million of authority in July.
yeah.
Excuse me?
Yeah, they are.
You're asking all that money? I thought it was just the study money.
No, it's not study money. This is money to go to construction.
I would hope that the town does a better job of explaining that to the public than the water article last.
Yeah, who's explaining?
What we have been doing that already. We've had Underwood engineers, they're gonna be at the meeting again on the next week, 16th, I think it is, at the council meeting to talk further about it. So what we're doing is providing more information to the population of the community because we feel that it's an important issue that we've been talking about for a while, and that what we're trying to do right now is sort of solidify the type of procedure that will be implemented for the new plan.
Why is this Creighton Street and Cedar Street?
No, Bay Road. If I said Cedar Street, I made a mistake, it's Bay Road.
There's
You said
only
Bay
one lift station? I thought there was two.
Well, on Creighton Street, going up to the plant, and then Bay Road, this, the pump station that's on Bay Road.
That one
Forest
there.
main across the river.
And there's another one over near Cheney Hill or whatever. somewhere.
So Underwood Engineering is the contractor?
Yes.
Okay, well,
How long you been working on that?
For several months now.
How
Couple-
come none of
couple,
this
3
was
months.
brought up at CIP last year?
we mentioned during the budgeting process that it's coming.
Why would, what do you mean, in the sense,
I mean, basically, you're presenting a 6-year plan, and here you got a $3-4 million project you've been working on, and it never got mentioned in either the sewer department 6-year plan or anything.
Or at the CIP.
Huh?
the town has been under an administrative order before my arrival, and that
For the
administrative
plan,
order
yeah.
provided for certain benchmarks to be done. The project that's down in New Village is part of that administrative order. It has always been my understanding that by 2011, the town was supposed to be in a position to be moving forward towards the either construction or finalizing the plans for construction of a new wastewater treatment facility.
Yeah.
That's not been a surprise to anybody. If it's a
No,
surprise to
right.
you, then I can't speak to that, Leo.
The Bay
All I
Road
know
one
is
is a
that at
surprise.
this point in
Yeah,
time,
I
that
was
we have,
surprised to see
we've
that,
had
yeah, too.
engineers on board that have been looking at this as to what the procedure is. Part of the question mark that exists out there is the requirement of EPA in the state of New Hampshire as to how far we have to go in removing nitrogen, which is a big ticket item. So, But that's what it's all
I get all
about.
that, I just don't get the Bay Road plant with what? I mean, that was built and then it was upgraded again to double the capacity several years later, and I haven't seen much building going on Durham side that would say we gotta do something with that. I haven't seen much building going on in Durham side in the last 20 years, so I guess the question, how come that station all of a sudden becomes too small? Or is it because it's too small? I don't know, I haven't heard
I
anything.
believe that is the problem that we've been, part of, one of the things that's been happening is that Bryant Rock, they've had to install a system within that building that when there is excess flow in the line that goes across the river, their system shuts down. They've had a backflow preventer shut down on their sewer line, which shuts down all the water within that building
I like that.
because, you don't
That's a
want the guy
design
on top
for by
floor
the
flushing.
engineer.
Right,
That's a
and,
design for.
yeah, so there's work that needs to be done at that location in order to move the material across the river and up into the plant. We also have flow that comes down from Woody Point that, they hold it and then ship it down at specific times, and that's been a problem from time to time.
So they're gonna show the data that shows that this
Yes.
has been needed. I just never heard about this. I thought when we doubled that Bay Road station 15, 20 years ago, that had plenty of capacity in it, when they doubled that.
And who originally put that in? Was that Cheney?
But
Who originally put that in down there?
Town of Newmarket put it in
Town
back
of
in
Newmarket.
'71 when they put sewage through the town. They
Okay.
put that in. Because I had to run the line from the McAllen Company down into that plant back in '71, '72, and we were using a heck of a lot more water than Bryant Rock is. That's why I
Yeah.
guess I gotta question.
If we have to solve a problem for Bryant Rock with their backflow, would that be done with TIF money? Because that's part of the TIF? Would we be able to use?
No, because I believe the problem is internally, because there's some legal maneuvering being done by Bright Rock people against the developer in that area. So this, part of that problem is the water and the mildew going up through and all of that, so. I personally am more concerned that the budget committee didn't know about this coming up in June when we just met, and.
That's me.
the CIP committee, people didn't know about it, and the budget committee, even though you've been working on it for 6 or 7 months. I find that, and so when you're telling me, or you said stated publicly, that the public will be notified, the public should know that it's common that we need a new water sewer treatment plant. Well, I don't think that's common to every single person, that it's gonna hit them, and now at another school, so.
Ms. Quox?
Would this fall under the 10% appropriations,
I have no idea.
the 10% rule? That you can't appropriate any?
Well, no, that you
No,
can't
that's not coming
increase,
out of the budget.
you can't increase the budget at the
Right.
the deliberative session by more than 10% or
10%.
reduce it by more than 10%.
So, just because we have this meeting coming up, and I believe we're following, it's a special meeting, and we didn't have to go to the courts to get it, is there any legal representation that the Budget Committee, we haven't looked into that the Budget Committee should have prior to or during this entire process for this bonding issue? Have we looked into that? Because we always find out after the fact that we were or were not supposed to do something. Is there anything at all that anyone can recollect, or should we get a legal opinion on it?
Well, we won't do anything specifically. We would rely on the town administrator to find out from legal counsel what role the budget committee should have, if any, underneath the state law.
And I would be, I would.
It sounds
really-
like he's had that discussion, but I guess you're hearing it again to
I'm more than
make
happy
sure.
to give you a copy of the law.
Did you get a
Know the
legal
number?
opinion on
No.
it? Did you get a legal opinion?
No, I read the law, and it's very specific as to the dates and timeframes that.
You know the law number? No?
Excuse me?
What number? No.
I don't
The
think
specific
so.
statute, do you happen to have the number? In your-
And-
The statute number,
Oh,
36A?
It's not, it's a bill that is waiting for the governor's signature at this
Oh,
point.
it hasn't even been
It's
signed
Senate
yet.
Bill 128, if you wanted to go online and look at it.
It is
What's
128.
It's been Senate Bill 128.
And-
Senate Bill one-
And if you, go ahead.
Well, I guess the thing is, the bill would need to specifically accept that section, that new law from the budget provisions, the Municipal Budget Act. 'Cause if it didn't, then there would theoretically still be some relationship between the budget committee or not.
And did you get a legal opinion on this entire process from the attorney regarding the filing procedure in order to have the special town meeting?
No.
So you're just basing what you have to do on, didn't you get in touch with SAM, what's a person's name up at LGC, regarding the process?
No, what I did, there was a bill in the legislature that was Senate Bill 128, that there was, that had that process on board. It needed the concurrence of both the House and the Senate to move forward because there was some amendments made to certain parts of the bill. Both houses have concurred on that, and it states, it sets out the policy, which is, as I said earlier, same procedure that was granted to cities and towns last year in accepting our money after town meetings. And so, following that same procedure that we followed last year is what is outlined and what I put together as a process.
And they haven't even
That was convoluted.
approved the rules that basically we're supposed to adhere to yet.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. I haven't even approved them yet, and we're using them.
And I thought, to me, you should, once the rule is promulgated, you should look at it, check it and see whether you agree with it, whatever, and then see what your options are. I mean, basically, this whole thing is hitting, 15 communities in the Great Bay, whatever. I mean, once they promulgate the rules, I don't know what.
I think you're talking about something different
He
than
is.
No,
I
I'm
think
not.
he is, yeah.
the rule. Well, there's
1%, 5%.
but that's not the rule. That's not what he's talking about in terms of the rule.
No,
There's
no, he's not talking, but
Yeah,
I'm
so-
saying is that what we have to adhere to hasn't been decided yet.
Right. We don't know what exactly our target is for the design of the plant in terms of nitrogen levels, outcome, and stuff.
And how much it's gonna cost, and how much it's gonna cost to run it, to build it.
So this is a discussion beyond our
Right,
capability
you're right.
and responsibility at this point. If it was a normal budget process, and maybe even underneath this new state law, it might be our responsibility, but not discouraging the budget committee as members from getting involved, but unless the state law gives us a specific role, we don't have one legally. So we'll have to look at that, and I would hope that the administrator would confirm after it's been signed into place the proper role for the budget committee, so we don't have any after the fact problems that screw up an approved bond or whatever. Mr. Zink?
Just for perhaps those at home, if you would listen to the last town council meeting we had a very good presentation by Underwood Engineering as to what the process was, the timeframes, our obligations, the whole process of applying for these monies. So anybody that perhaps is a little bit confused by this conversation, I think if you go back to the last council presentation and the upcoming council presentation, it's pretty straightforward in terms of the various steps that we need to go through to get this accomplished, and why we're without the final results of what we need in terms of objectives, why we need to make this move forward now to take advantage of the monies and to be able to meet our commitments in terms of timetables.
In addition, don't forget that the way that the ARA money works, it's a 50% forgiveness. So while we are asking for $18 million, we'd only be paying back $9 million. So that there's a benefit to the community in building and taking advantage of this opportunity at this point in time.
Yep. Ms. Quox, did you have something else?
Could I please get a copy of the Senate Bill 128?
Excuse me?
Could I get a copy of the Senate Bill 128
Yes.
from your office? Okay, thank you.
One for me too, I don't have to look at it online.
All right.
I have one question.
Anything else on this? I was hoping we could move on.
Oh, I had it now, I just lost it, so move on.
Okay. All right, so, let's see. Any other business?
Well, I guess, how many vacancies do we have?
Someone called the town hall today and was told it's a 9-member elected body with 2 other people, so it's a total of 11. So I'm confused because unfortunately the website's not updated with the current elections and all that. I looked at it yesterday and it still had Roseanne as council rep.
So there's 7, we have
So I don't know.
It's a 9-member committee.
That was a 9-member.
It is
Yeah, but there's only,
elected, 9-member elected, and 2 more makes 11.
right, 9 members
So we have-
elected.
And that's coming from
It
Becky's
appears
office.
that we have 2 openings. Could
Or is
you,
it 2 or 1? That's what I don't know.
well, we
I know
got,
Al Zink's position is open.
and Larry's.
Well, he took, let's say he
No,
took
Larry
Larry's.
got voted. Larry quit before the election.
If it's 9 members and we have 5 here and two absent, that's, well, Al's not an elected member, he's an appointed member. So that's the difference. So there's 5 of us here that are elected, and then 2 more, Lorianne and Bob, that's 7.
Yep, so it's
So
2.
there's 2 missing. That's how I got to.
Yeah, that's how I got it.
I just wondered.
Why don't Mr.
Oh, well, no, wait a minute, what about Jack Fitzgibbons?
Oh,
yeah, he
Jack
was
is
elected.
on it.
Okay, so we're
That's
missing
right.
1.
I'm thinking-
So we have 1.
So there's only 1.
Yeah,
Okay.
Jack.
Sorry, Jack.
Yeah.
Only we had known.
There's 1
Could have
vacancy.
made him chair.
So that's another reason why, I guess.
All right, so if you could post it, that there's a vacancy and people can submit applications to the budget committee. They're due by,
92.
I'll distribute any ones that we get, and if we have to have a special meeting, we'll call it, or we'll just make them wait till September or August. Did someone push their button? Someone named Steve? Is that you, Al?
Long time ago.
Sorry.
You didn't recognize me, so.
Doesn't matter.
Now you know the tricks of the trade.
And will the Budget Committee plan on attending the first CIP meeting, just to see what's going on?
Well, it's open to
Because
the public, yeah.
Open to the public. Have Leo there to do our job. It was a good job. And Dana, too.
And when, is there a date set for that
Yeah.
yet?
Doesn't sound like it.
No date set yet, huh?
There is.
When is the CIP meeting, Ed, do
Oh,
you know?
CIP meeting.
No, there's
Oh,
no date. There's no date.
Okay, there is no date.
All right, any other business?
No, motion to adjourn.
All right, second.
I'll second that motion.
All right. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay. We adjourn at 7:45.
We want to thank Lori Ann, too, for being past chair.
Yep.